Comic sales for 2020, both print and digital. And this is not just one source. This is Comicron and ICV2.com. 1.28 billion, which is 0.7 higher than 2019, which was a little bit higher than 2018. And yeah, so you kind of
it's actually on the up. Okay.
Yeah, it's been on the up. If you've been buying the comics are dying narrative, then yeah, you've been falling for some scam. And digital, by the way, look at this fucking jump in digital, dude. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the digital's really been going up as well. I mean, and this is interesting, well, to where I feel like, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but it's been interesting to see the, how would you say, the comic book streaming services, I guess, with Marvel Unlimited and now DC Universe Infinite. I feel like those are really exploding as well in popularity.
Comixology is what I use for sure.
Yeah, Comixology as well. I feel like the Marvel and DC subscriptions, if they use it right, I feel like that could definitely be a future gateway in terms of revenue and ease of access as well. Although obviously that could cause some issues with the comic book shops, and obviously that would be terrible. But it's interesting, the way stuff has been shifting digitally as well. I mean, not just comics, but video games and movies and television as well. A lot of entertainment's just been going streaming. The music industry has pretty much done a full form transition to streaming. So it's been interesting to see how the other industries have been slowly kind of going into that as well. It's taking a lot longer. So.
Yeah. And I have to assume that this massive jump, when you look at how digital grew year by year, and then this, I have to assume that's through the pandemic. Just people like, well, I'm at home. I got all these devices. I might as well, fucking read some comics, which is awesome. It's not awesome that the pandemic happened, obviously, but it's awesome that, as I said in a recent video, a little while back, the fact that sales were higher in 2020, which is not what I expected. I would have put money on the fact that 2020 would have been a bad year for comics.
Yeah.
Just because, a lot of people didn't have disposable income. Point being, comics are doing well, better than well. They're doing great. The audience is expanding all the time, which is, part of why certain people have been running these narratives for so long, is they don't like that comics are not just theirs anymore. But honestly, I think it's awesome. It's pretty crazy to think that comics is basically no longer just kind of a fringe nerd culture anymore. It's just a mainstream thing.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, some people don't like, a lot of people still don't read comics regularly. A lot of people don't buy comics every Wednesday, but there's a whole lot of people who are getting, some graphic novels here and there and finding stuff they like and following it and, digging into the awesome history of graphic novels. And I love it. Glad that is happening. So,
Amen.
And I think I said all that without saying the word, didn't I?
Yeah, I think so. Good job.
Awesome. Hell yeah. All right. So
and the movie industry too. I sent you that story. I don't know if you're going to cover it, but yep, there you go.
Yep. Oh, I'm ready, baby. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Marvel movies account for 30% of 2020's box office dollars. That is a lot.
Somewhere Martin Scorsese is crying tears.
Tears of blood. No. Yeah. So yeah, Marvel movies continue to perform well at the box office, now boasting a substantial increase in their market share. In 2021, Marvel films, counting films from both the Disney-owned Marvel Studios and Sony's Marvels, accounted for 30% of the box office total. This comes as movie theaters struggled to make any money after being shuttered for the majority of 2020, with only a few films trying to draw people back to cinemas, with the only Marvel title having been
The New Mutants, which is a movie I have not seen yet, although I've heard very mixed things. Some people really like it, some people really hated it.
I enjoyed it when I watched it. Like, it was fine to watch. I was fine. Like, it's not a fantastic movie. There is some good stuff in there. But at the same time, it's like, knowing that that's the last Foxmen movie, as I call them, I'm fine with it. What did you think?
I dug it too. I had a lot of fun with it. And spoilers. Everyone who doesn't want to hear this,
Yes.
there is a giant bear in the end. So
well, yeah, I mean, if anybody's
that's the
read
comics though, that's the comics.
Okay,
though.
okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
If anybody's read the original, the first arc on New Mutants, I believe it was the Demon Bear saga, or maybe it's not the first arc, I forget.
It's one of them. It's one of the most iconic runs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So that's just from the comics, and I actually, that's not a part of it that I hated. I think that some of the characters were a little two-dimensional. I think that they could have focused on a couple of things more and a couple of things less. You can tell that there were certain things that were changed, kind of last minute, and weren't as well done. Like the doctor character, what's her name? I forget. Was originally supposed to be Moira McTaggart, I believe, and they changed that kind of last minute. And yeah, so it's it's just another. It's like, it's an enjoyable movie. It's definitely not one of Fox's worst X-Men movies, in my opinion, but it is also a good example of how they never quite knew what the fuck they were doing over there when it comes to the mutants.
Yeah. And I think you said this about another movie too, but if this movie would have come out like in 2003, I think it would have been better received,
Oh yeah.
It had like this old school feel to it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Venom movies in that way, where it's like, man, these would have been bangers in 2005.
We needed this when Batman and Robin was coming out. Like,
yeah,
that was earlier, but still.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed with the Fox X-Men movies. They didn't necessarily age the best. I mean, like, a lot of them still feel like early 2000s comic book movies, for better and for worse, right? I mean, like, also you had the Bryan Singer thing too, which is kind of like also not help those movies age well. I'm sorry, just
taints it.
Yeah, it's kind of tainted.
And I don't know if you meant to use that word choice, but it is kind of funny. They didn't age well. Neither did Bryan Singer's romantic conquest. Sorry. All right. Yeah, same here. I am eager as hell to see some MCU X-Men. I think Kevin Feige has probably been looking more forward to getting his hands solely on X-Men over probably anything else. I believe that he's probably just chomping at the bit, and that he's got some great ideas. I have a strong suspicion that the X-Men and the MCU are going to be pretty distinct, because I think that they're going to kind of base it on what's been currently going on in the comics for the last couple of years in the Hickman era.
Probably some Hickman stuff. I also feel like it's clear to me, at least, that one of the big influences on Kevin Feige will be the X-Men 90s cartoon. I mean, just the fact that they're making an official continuation of that show tells me they know its popularity. I would not be shocked if that's the official roster we get in that movie. Again, that's pure fanboy speculation, but I'm very partial to the 90s cartoon roster. So
I would take the somewhat opposite position in that, there's clearly a lot of love, and they recognize that love for that cartoon, and that's why they're doing the continuation. But I think that it would honestly kind of be a mistake to also do that in the MCU. I think they're gonna look for some ways to really distinguish it from from that or anything that we know. I think they're gonna kind of try and do something super fresh with it. I hope so. I mean, maybe
interesting, because I feel like they never properly did, because like the movies like did their own thing kind of. I mean, they tried doing a similar roster of the cartoon, but they never felt like the cartoon, purposely. They were very much a ground to take on X-Men at the time, and they kind of did the thing where it's like, oh no, yellow spandex and all that, and even like characters like Rogue, I thought were really neutered down in the Bryan Singer films. Personally, I mean, I know some people like that interpretation of Rogue. I much prefer my Southern bombshell Rogue, but that's just me. But I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do for sure, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. It was they did a lot of things. So the main thing that my issue with all the Fox X-Men movies in general, other than just some of them are bad fucking movies, is, so it's like they did a great job with Wolverine. They did a great job with Professor X. And that's about it. it's like they focused everything on those two characters generally. You know, like the casting for Professor X was.
Everyone got left behind, especially my boy Cyclops. I mean, my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I love James Marsden as an actor, but they did not give him the best material to work with whatsoever.
Visually, he was like Cyclops. Like, it was perfect casting too.
Yeah. But they just every single one of those movies, those first three movies, they couldn't wait to sideline his ass.
Well, they put him in that love triangle too, and Wolverine and Jean Grey. It's like, ugh.
Well, I mean that is directly from the comics, but
yeah,
you know,
it is. But just the way they handled it by like they clearly favored Wolverine though, which is the problem.
Yeah. So here's my proposal, and I don't remember, maybe it was Judah Rad I was talking to about this. I think that they need to, even once we get an X-Men movie, which, as somebody said a minute ago, is not going to be for a couple of years. Even once they start introducing mutants in the X-Men movies, I don't really want to see Wolverine for a couple of movies at least. And I know that's controversial because
I agree.
Damn,
because
look,
the money says introduce Wolverine ASAP though.
But
it's more, it's MCU. They could do whatever they want. Like they got Shang-Chi like as a box office. Like anything they release, we're gonna see.
I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna they can do whatever they want. Like Perp said, it's like I think that it would be even be more potentially financially successful for them to tease Wolverine for a while. So it's like everybody who's watching these X-Men movies, like looking for the hints. It's like, you know, I mean, I know they're probably not going to do this, but what I really kind of wish they would do is another Hulk movie, and you know, or something, and there's like, you know, Shield or some agency hires a guy to go hunt down the Hulk, and then it's Wolverine. You know what I mean? So basically, he would be the villain in that movie or whatever, and they're probably not going to do that. But that's how Wolverine first debuted in the comics.
That would be amazing.
Honestly, and he needs to be short too, right?
Yes,
he's a short character in the comics. That would be a nice.
He needs to be short and stubby. Stubby.
Somebody said recast Chris Evans as Cyclops. Somebody said that it should be Carl Urban if he wasn't Scourge, and it's like, no, I love Carl Urban, and if he was like a foot and a half shorter, sure. But they need to go. When they
cast as Wolverine, I really don't. Because it's not just because it's the Hugh Jackman thing, but it kind of is. I mean, people are always going to compare the next actor to Hugh, even if they go in a completely different direction in terms of body and physicality. That comparison is never going to go away, right? So it's going to be so tough to recast that role. But I have a feeling what they're going to do is do a Wolverine movie, like separate from the X-Men, and like you build up to the eventual team up between Wolverine and the X-Men. That's my prediction, at least.
Yeah. He's like, I think 5'6", 5'7", maybe. Get an actual Wolverine. No, what they're probably gonna do, like with SpiderMan, is just cast an unknown. That's the best way to go. So that way you don't have to pick from a specific set of actors that, you know. For one thing, actors don't fill seats anymore, really, in a lot of cases. So it's like, you know, look how well they did with Tom Holland. Who the fuck knew who that was, right?
He's unknown for the most part.
I mean, so technically, so was Chris.
So
Pratt.
I started stabbing. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I know Chris Pratt was in Parks and Rec, but still, like technically, like America did not know who Chris Pratt was, you know, until after.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when they cast him as Star-Lord too, I was like, really, that schlubby fucker? And then that first image came out where he's like, I was like, okay, I got you.
I believe this now.
All right, so yeah, look at some numbers here real quick too. Black Widow, Shang-Chi Eternals.
Their previous record, by the way, was 18%, and it's 30 now. Like that's a huge.
How much of that is how much of this 30% though do you think is equated to No Way Home?
Good
chunk. I mean, a good chunk, but also consider the fact that Warner Brothers released like very few. Well, I think they released some of their movies in the theater as well, but most people probably saw them at home.
Yeah, so like date movies, so that kind of took away from the box office.
That's a chunk of potential competition. That even if they were in theaters, let's be honest, probably most of them wouldn't have really competed that much. You know.
Do you think Christopher Nolan's laughing somewhere? I told you guys.
I don't know.
He's a big theater guy.
Yeah, Nolan's happy he's going to Universal.
Yeah. Oh, you think Nolan's going to do Fast 10? I hope so.
Oh god, that'd be amazing.
Christopher Nolan directs the final Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
That's why
So Black Widow made $379 million. Having been the only title of the year.
Yeah, Black Widow was a day-and-date movie because that was on Premiere Access. So
Shang-Chi did 432. Eternals made 401. Venom 2 made 501. No Way Home is still in the midst of printing money at $1.3 billion so far. Yeah, that's $3 billion total for Marvel in 2021. F9 did pretty well. That's pretty good. 726.
So did No Time to Die. I thought that did worse.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was okay. Dune only made not even quite 400 million. I thought that would have done more, but okay, fair enough.
HBO Max probably took a good chunk.
Free Guy, that's pretty good for like a non-IP thing that just kind of came out and probably, I mean, I liked it.
Yeah, 2021's been a really interesting year at the box office, especially. It kind of felt like everyone was just waiting for No Way Home to kind of save the day,
Yeah, as Paul Thomas Anderson had said, right? Like he was like, Spider-Man. People say that superhero movies are killing theater, but Spider-Man's going to come out and save cinemas, and he did. More unknowns, yes. Yeah, Hugh was unknown when he was cast, and like I remember. So I'm fucking old, and like in the '90s, I was a big Wizard magazine reader.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I would read that shit legit cover to cover because even like it's throughout the price guide in the back of the book, they would have like little jokes sprinkled in, and then like if reading the legal text in the contests that they would have, where you like read the fine print legal text stuff, they would have jokes in there too. So I was like legit reading pretty much every word in every issue of Wizard, and I remember they used to do this thing called casting call or something, and they would kind of give their picks for who should play what in a movie or whatever. This is years before the X-Men movie or anything. And they actually, they did a whole X-Men casting call thing, just kind of like fan picks almost. And for Professor X, they had Patrick Stewart. And so like that was just perfect casting. And then at the time they had Wolverine as either, who did they have? Danzig, I think. Glenn Danzig was their pick.
What?
Which is fucking crazy. Yeah, you're too young. You're too young.
I'm sorry.
Mother, tell your children not to.
And also, there was someone else casted. It was Dougherty Scott was casted. And
Yep.
Apparently, he was doing Mission Impossible 2, and he had to turn it down.
Yep.
Yeah,
they had to do reshoots.
Yeah, it was like a last minute thing too, so they brought in Hugh.
He probably regrets that.
Yeah,
I would imagine. Yeah.
Let's see. Lawrence, give me all my movies day one on a streaming service. I mean, yeah, it's nice and convenient and stuff, but it's also, I'm not one of those people that's like panicking about the end of cinema, because I don't think that honestly that theaters are just going to go away forever. I had a friend that was freaking out about that. He's like, I'm worried that all the cinemas are going to close down. It's like, okay, maybe some of the megaplexes might close down. But there's always going to be some local theater that you can go see movies in. You know what I mean? It's not going to go away. Yeah. Free Guy was okay. The way the game worked took me out of it a little. That's fair. I mean, yeah, it's not. I didn't.
It's coming to Disney Plus in February. I gotta watch that.
Yeah, on Disney, really?
Yeah, it's coming out on Disney Plus in February, I believe.
I didn't even know it was a Disney movie. I guess.
It's a Fox movie.
Fox.
Yeah, it's Fox.
Oh, that's yeah, makes sense. Mark Hamill is Professor X. I don't know.
I know a lot of people wanted him as Doc Ock. Remember that? It was a popular fan casting.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of the same shit over and over again, right? Like, it's, and there's some truth. It's what usually happens is that there's, in the case of comics or movies or whatever, when you hear people doing this doomsaying stuff, it's because the industry and the market is shifting, not because it's dying. It's because things are changing and people either don't understand that or they see an opportunity to grift.